Welcome back to another episode of Casual Adult Coffee. I'm Alicia.
And I'm Corey.
And today we're going to be talking about online personas. Are you the same person in person, or are you a little bit different? Corey, what do you like?
I like to think that I'm a calm, smooth, sophisticate in person and online, but I know that's a lie. But I do generally, most people who chat with me online, they can tell that I'm funny and charming, but I do have my own special brand of comedy and charm. But that's the other thing, is I even recognize it myself a few times, is that in person, there's the initial shyness in person. But I know a lot of people, exactly that. Like, a lot of people have way more balls online than they do in reality.
Yeah, I know that I'm pretty much the same person in person as I am online. You get what you get. It's not always been that way with me. I used to be a lot braver online than I was in person. I've become more brave in person, ironically, instead of the other way around. I've come out of my shell in person. I will go and talk to people I don't know. I never used to be able to do that. So I've kind of grown the opposite way than I've seen most people. I see people online that are way more outgoing.
And that's the one thing I find, is that people who, they make that swing and they're big brass balls online, but then in person are like quite shy. And you would like to think that there is a medium point between both, that you could make everybody happy all the time, but it doesn't seem like it happens. Like, people, I wouldn't be able to, I'm not a psychiatrist, so I wouldn't be able to say, or psychologist, whichever one, I wouldn't be able to say what the utmost cause of it is, but it does feel like our society is breeding keyboard warriors who are tough online and can say whatever they want, and then in reality they just can't walk into a public place without help.
I think some of it is that the anonymity of being online, I think that's the right word.
Mm-hmm.
Like, especially things like Reddit, where you don't have a profile. Where you can say what you want and there's zero repercussions, does give you a lot more courage. And even on Facebook, where people really don't know you, you're just a picture, and is it my picture? Gives you that courage to say things that you would never say in public or in person.
Never say.
Whereas there's other people out there that are like, you know what, this is who I am. I'm outgoing. Once you get to know me, I say the F word way more than I probably should. No, you're not going to get inappropriate pictures from me. And for me, having my kids has also made me maybe a little bit more conservative with the pictures I post and whatnot. Yeah. But for the most part, doing a YouTube channel talking about sex, and I'll talk to you about that in public too. I'll talk about the topics that we do on here.
Well, and that's a valid point too, and I'm sure you may, like, the people who do see me on my Facebook profile, I'm actually borderline private on my Facebook profile, whereas some of the pages I visit and then groups of and things like this, then I'm less shy. But my profile itself, and I think part of that is the reservation that I don't need my family to see. Like, a lot of them don't know about this channel, not because I am embarrassed of it or anything like that, because I don't like them. But I think that's where it is that, so I would be similar to you. I'm actually more reserved online than I am in person. In person, my humor is as previously mentioned, delicate and soft. So
like
I
a
have
bulldozer or a steamroller,
for example. But because my text is dry and missed, I often sugarcoat the things I say online because people can't tell my tone and inflection, and people misconstrue what I think, and they think I'm a horrible racist when all I'm doing is making a bad joke. So
yeah, you got to make sure that your audience is the right one, and then online you can't always,
you can't count on them interpreting it. And the funny part about text as well is when I was breaking up with an ex years ago, in fact, I got a Facebook reminder that says it's right around 8 years ago. I realized that the person receiving the text is the one who determines the mood of that text. Like, think about it. If you're in a bad mood, you interpret the text you get in that same mood.
yes,
You don't guess and say, well, how are they feeling? Now I'm going to read this in their tone. You read it in the tone that you are.
yes,
So, like I said, when I was breaking up with her, every tone I got, I would overanalyze, and I would like borderline cry over every little thing because I was misinterpreting because I was crushed instead of looking at it from her point of view. And I remember one point, it was dictionary.com. This is my clear memory of it, is that the word of the day was Corybantic. And I'm probably mispronouncing that. But the word meant frenzied and unrestrained. So she texted it to me and said, forwarded it to me and said, look, you're the word of the day. And she meant it in a positive way. But because she was leaving me, I interpreted it as an insult, the fact that I was frenzied and unfocused, and I misinterpreted it as an insult. And I think that was one of the turning points for me online, is that I was like, there's always the person who misconstrues which way your conversation is.
yes.
So on like vague, like that anyone can see it, I'm as vague as possible because I'm like, I don't need to come across the wrong direction.
Yeah, and like if I'm being sarcastic online, I will put in quotation marks, note sarcasm, so that I try to avoid that situation. But there isn't shy Alicia in person and outgoing, bold, social justice warrior. Like, people know that I am for this and I am against this. And if you ask me in person to talk about it, I will be just as against whatever it is. I am not comfortable in big groups in certain social settings, and that is not a surprise to anybody that meets me. But in certain social settings, I'm fine. I'm a salesman, so
Salesperson.
Nah. There's that delicate humor of yours again.
I'm an angel. It's the trick is like you say, it's easy to act when there's no repercussion, whereas in person, people have that. Well, that's the beauty of it, is you get an instant feedback loop as well. Is if I were to say drop the N-word right now, and I would see your reaction, I would know exactly how to proceed after that. Yes. Whether I should be apologizing or whether I should unload again.
Yeah.
And I think that's the online, people don't have that feedback. So they can I can say and do whatever I want. And then in person, it's the realization that there is consequences.
But there is consequences online. There's those pictures, those comments never go away. But because it's not instant, and because
they do. Facebook takes them down.
Facebook, but just because they've been taken down doesn't mean that they're not still out there somewhere.
Agreed.
And those comments that you made can come back to haunt you in a professional manner.
Yeah, I've heard about people actually getting turned down for a job because they've said something.
Or losing their jobs.
Right.
Because of inappropriate posts, comments, things like that. So that's why I am who I am online.
Mm.
And in person. Like, I just interviewed for a new job and I got it. But I don't think being, like, and if you're single and dating, the last thing you want is to be someone else, and then when you go on the date, for that person to find out that you are a completely different person in person. It's the same thing as posting pictures of yourself 10 years ago and 50 pounds lighter. And then showing up and you don't look the same. You've misrepresented yourself.
Oh, and I went exactly that. I had like good conversation with the girl, everything else, and she was confident and funny online and text and even on the phone. And then when I met her in reality, she was shy and hesitant and was like, I felt really kind of disappointed, and I never ended up seeing her again, like in a romantic level. Bumped into her friend type way or a professional environment, but that was it. It was like, I was so what happened type thing. And I think I used to joke with people that the honeymoon phase. I mean, think about online is the honeymoon phase that you are. I mean, some people will put their best foot forward, say, look at how grand I am. I open doors for you. I like tell you how pretty you are and everything else. And then as it wears off, I'm not holding the door for you. And I'm not
farting.
People fart now?
Oh.
But but I think that's one of the offshoots of it is complacency with the ability to get away with it.
But that's getting comfortable within your relationship is one thing, but completely misrepresenting who you are online and who you are in reality, between the getting to know you the stage and meeting, is completely, that's a form of catfishing.
Oh, totally. Like,
you know, like, so be your true self. Represent yourself as who you are, not who you wish you were.
Well,
and I think that's part of it.
You know what? Then that could almost be another offshoot of it, is that your online personality is who you wish you were or aspire to be. So, I mean, some of it could be, like we said, the shyness, and you're hoping you get better. I mean, how many people do you know? Everybody says, well, I wish I was this. I think that's might be a little glitch to it, that people are hoping that they will be as, one day, that they will be as confident as they are in online.
I think that is it. And I think that's a really good point for us to wrap up on, is that, you know, I wish I was skinnier, but, you know, I'm not going to go buy a pair of size 2 jeans and squeeze myself into them. You know, I'm going to be who I am. I'm going to dress for my best self, and I'm going to be my best self.
I am going to buy a size 2 jeans.
God. So on that note, we'll leave you with that image, and we'll talk soon.